Okay, so I am really excited for this video. I'm actually on the Circle G Ranch right now. Where is the Circle G Ranch? What is it known for? It is a ranch that Elvis owned in the late 60s. And I found somebody who manages the property, looks after the property, to kind of take me around and show me some of the more notable places. And the story goes that in 1967, Elvis was driving around at night in the Memphis area around Graceland, and he saw this magnificent 55-foot tall illuminated cross. And he saw that and he said, I gotta have that property. And so we are gonna check out this property today and enjoy. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm going to put in some voiceover here to kind of explain what's going on and fill in the blanks. What you're looking at right now is known as Elvis's Honeymoon Cottage. So he was married May 1st, 1967 to Priscilla. What I'm pointing at right there is the side of the house, presumably where Elvis would park his car. So he was married to Priscilla in 1967. He spent part of his honeymoon in Las Vegas, and then also the Bahamas, and he ended up here at the Circle G Ranch in this very house. The house, as you can see, is still standing. It is not in great shape, but the gentleman who was showing me around kind of told me there are plans to renovate it. I hope they do so because it's, like I said, not in very good condition. But this is the house. This is the very house that he spent some of his honeymoon in. Now, after he bought the house, and the entire ranch, he did move in some trailers on the property because this house is right on Goodman Road. And even though it was a smaller road back then with far less traffic, it still didn't give Elvis the sense of privacy that he really wanted. So he did move in some trailers and spend a lot of time in the back of the ranch there. But that is the house. That is known as the Honeymoon Cottage. And again, his entire family, entourage, wife, they all spent time in that very house. Now, I did go inside. I'm not going to share that footage here because I found out after the fact I really shouldn't have done so. But just know there's really not much to see. So this is the side of the house.
Never even looked up.
This is the old portion of the house here.
Correct.
Okay.
It's bigger than what it looks like.
Yeah, it's very, very deep. It goes.
Engineers have looked at this, and they said whoever put that up didn't know what they were doing because they just had it nailed to the wall.
I gotcha. Very cool.
And they have been stealing bricks right here. This right here used to look just like that.
Vandals come and just...
Yeah. Put it on eBay and sell it.
Ruining history.
Yeah.
There's the carport. Now this fence right here, is this original? Was this
yes. That's an original fence.
Okay.
And in one of those pictures, we'll look at them again, you'll see cars parked all the way up and down here.
I'm going to back up a little bit here and cover some other history I probably should have covered at the beginning. But he bought this place in 1967 for $437,000 from a guy named Jack Adams. Jack Adams had accumulated some wealth from selling airplanes. And he actually had the lake was man-made, and the bridge that we're going to take a look at in a minute here was also built by Jack Adams, as well as the 55-foot tall cross that attracted Elvis to the area in the first place. That was all built by Jack Adams prior to Elvis's arrival. So as soon as Elvis bought the place, spent his honeymoon here, and he started basically outfitting the ranch to fit his wants and desires. He bought 40 horses. He bought trailers for his friends and family to hang out in. He bought Ford Rancheros with the big Circle G on the side for all his friends to get around the ranch. And by the way, the Circle G, the G in that supposedly stands for Gladys, for his mother. Some people say it stands for Graceland, but it's now widely accepted it stood for Gladys. But yeah, this is where he spent a couple years. So Priscilla Presley has said that some of his happiest days in his life were spent right here on this ranch. Now you have to remember, in the 60s, he was just basically churning out movies as quickly as he could. He was getting paid $1 million per movie, and so he was spending a lot of time on movie sets, and when he could get away, he would come back here and kind of it would give him kind of a reprieve from Hollywood and all that other stuff. So he really enjoyed taking a break from the movie business to come back here. So he didn't spend a whole lot of time here. He sold the place in 1969. I'm kind of getting conflicting reports about the reason why that happened. But from what I can gather, it just was, he just wasn't, his finances were just not working out too well. As you can imagine, it cost a lot to maintain a 163-acre plot of land with horses and all the agriculture and all that kind of stuff. But he had kind of gotten into kind of a financial problem, and I will say a lot of that probably comes from the fact that there are a lot of people who were depending on Elvis for a paycheck. He was very generous. Some might say that he was a little bit too generous, and some people took advantage of him. For example, when he went to buy those 40 horses for the ranch, the local horse breeders, they found out that Elvis was looking for horses, and they upped their price from $300 a horse to $3,000 a horse. And Elvis was not one to haggle and said, fine, I'll pay $3,000 a horse, and he overpaid for that. And that's just one of the ways that many people kind of took advantage of Elvis. But all in all, he didn't spend that much time here. But as stated before, Priscilla Presley has said before in interviews that this place is where Elvis spent some of his happiest days. So, yeah, I think it's pretty significant for that reason alone. Okay, so this is the barbecue pit. And over on the left-hand side, you can see there's a brick sitting on it, but there's the letter E for Elvis. The gentleman who manages the property kind of wants to cover that up because, as you can see, vandals have kind of taken advantage of it. Over here was the P for Presley, and unfortunately a lot of people have taken that too. So the E, though, however, still here. This is the remnants of the barbecue pit at the Circle G Ranch.
But in a little while, you're gonna get a feeling on this place that's really gonna surprise you, because it's extremely calm and serene, and there's multitudes of everything right there.
Right. Wow.
There are deer, bobcats, coyotes, raccoons, possums, all kind of stuff right here.
Wow.
And of course, you can see with no rain, it's very low right now.
Yeah, it's still beautiful. As you see here, we are approaching the iconic Circle G bridge. And again, this was built by Jack Adams prior to Elvis's arrival. So this was already here. It's still standing today, which I think is awesome. And there's one picture I'll show you that is pretty cool of Elvis and Priscilla standing just right outside that bridge. By the way, the gentleman that you hear in the background, again, he is one of the caretakers here of the Circle G. He likes his anonymity, if you will. He likes to kind of remain kind of in the shadows, if you will, and so he did not want to appear on camera. But that is his voice that you're hearing, and he will, in just a minute here, share a really cool story about the rumor of a lost wedding ring. So, yeah, check that out. Wow.
Did you ever hear the story about Priscilla losing her ring out here?
I did hear that. So I've heard different versions of it. I heard one version that it was Elvis who lost his ring, and then I heard that it was Priscilla who lost her. So what's...
You want the truth?
Yes, I want the truth.
She said Elvis was out here riding horses and had on a neckerchief or bandana or something and lost his slide off of it and took his ring off and made a slide out of his ring. Ah, okay. And she said when he got back to the stables, it was gone. And she said him and his mafia spent 5 or 6 hours on their hands and knees practically looking for it and never found it.
Ah.
And I told that story over here one day, and a guy said, well, have you been over here with a metal detector? I said, no, sir. And I'm not being ugly, but I'm security over here too, and I'm not going to let you do it either.
Right.
I said, if it's here, it belongs right here.
Right.
And he thought for a second, and he said, you know, you're right.
Yep.
This is where it belongs.
And of course, right in front of me, you see the 55-foot tall cross that attracted Elvis to this area in the first place. It's my belief that had it not been for this cross, I don't think that Elvis would have even noticed this area. But Elvis, being a very spiritual and religious person, he saw this cross as a sign or a beacon that he needed to take more notice, and he did exactly that. I have to say, I never thought I'd get this close to this landmark, to this cross. You can see it from Road 301, which is the western boundary of the Circle G Ranch. So you can see it when you drive by in between the trees. But I never in a million years thought I'd be able to get within touching distance of it. So it's been really cool to be able to tread these grounds and to get this close to this landmark and to kind of go back in time and kind of see this place through a lens in history that should be remembered. So this has been a really, really awesome time for me this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed the video. There's many more people out there who know way more about Elvis history than I do. So if you have any questions or comments or want to fill in any gaps, please feel free to leave any comments below. And that's it. Thank you for watching.